American citizens have protested the American flag and the national anthem for almost 100 years. Is it a human rights issue or is it something else? Protests of the American flag and the national anthem have occurred from white American demonstrators as well as African American demonstrators. Protests of the draft of World War I, Vietnam War, and the Civil Rights Movement have all demonstrated against the flag and the national anthem by not standing. Imagine being told you were going to war, whether you wanted to or not, believed in the cause or not. To protest World War I, citizens would sit in their seats while the national anthem was sang to protest the draft of the war, which took their relatives without their acknowledgement. Emma Goldman, a political activist for the development of anarchists, decided to sit instead of stand for the anthem to rally citizens not to sign up for the draft. It's ironic. The youth called for World War I. Grandkids some 60 years later would protest on a larger scale. American-born students, celebrities, and athletes protested against America's involvement in Vietnam. Protests occurred on college campuses nationwide. Jimi Hendrix played a rendition of the national anthem with different tones for the bombs bursting in air part, and he stated, "We're all Americans." It was like, "Go America." We play it as it is in the air today. The air is slightly static, see, and this is coming from Jimi Hendrix. But here we see a different type of protest, but message still received. We cannot forget the most famous of all protests on a world stage, which was in the 1968 Olympics, where Tommy Smith, a gold medalist, and John Carlos, a bronze medalist, both turned toward the American flag while the national anthem was playing, wearing human rights badges on their American uniforms, and raised a black-gloved fist to symbolize America's injustice towards its African American citizens. Peter Norman, an Australian silver medalist, also wore the human rights badge to support because of the injustices in America at the time, which was known on a worldwide scale. Can we all just get along and adopt a human fellowship? Protesting of the American flag and its national anthem has been going on for quite some time now. World War I, sending soldiers to war without their consent, American involvement in Vietnam, almost 2 decades in a war that wasn't ours, and the Civil Rights Movement all point to one common ground, and that's human rights. World War I protests came from white draftees and that wanted the choice to be a soldier or not. In the 60s, there were joint efforts everywhere protesting an anthem, from students to stars. The Civil Rights Movement was for African Americans primarily, with the help of white citizens joining the cause. Just by these chronological events, we can see that multiple nationalities has had human rights issues with the flag and the national anthem and the undertones that the anthem express. In the end, human rights for you and me is all anyone wants. 100 years plus of protest against the flag and the anthem. It looks like we still have a little bit further to go, but we are getting there as a nation.